Hello, I'm Jeff, the Progressive Disciple, and I am going on a journey through the Bible, and I'm inviting you to come along with me. Today we are covering Ecclesiastes, chapters 1 through 4. Solomon starts the book in chapter 1, verses 2 and 3, saying, "Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun?" Looking back through his life, Solomon is full of regret. He feels that he has not made a difference in the world. In verse 9, he makes one of the most well-known quotes, "There is nothing new under the sun." Solomon had tried the pursuit of wisdom, the pursuit of pleasure. He had over 700 wives and 300 concubines, and he had amassed a great deal of wealth. But in the end, it was meaningless. In Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 10 and 11, he says, "I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all my hands had done, and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun." Solomon does suggest that we take pleasure in our toil. How do we do this? Mark Twain says, "Find a job that you love and you will never work a day in your life." That's good if you can find the perfect job. But I prefer what the great philosopher Mary Poppins said. "In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun and snap, the job's a game." This has worked well for me. Before I retired, I was a computer programmer. And the fun part in that job was figuring out all the logical steps I needed to take to solve a problem. If you like puzzles, it's the perfect job for you. Solomon was also distressed by the oppression of his age. I feel the same way when I watch the news of today. When I see George Floyd being murdered, when I see LGBTQ plus people being denied their rights, when I see election workers being threatened just for doing their job, I often feel like there's very little, or if anything, I can do to help. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1, Solomon says, "Again, I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressors, and they have no comforter." It is clear to me that I am not God, and I cannot remake the world in my image. But I do believe we can make a difference. It has been said that a person who does not believe they can make a difference in the world has never eaten an undercooked bat. Yet I believe that through charity, volunteering, and voting, that we can make a difference. Maybe not right away, but with a group of other people, over time and perseverance, we can make a difference. Now, how can I talk about Ecclesiastes chapters 1 through 4 and not really discuss chapter 3? In chapter 3, verses 1 through 8, I can't read these verses without thinking about "Turn, Turn, Turn" by the Byrds. This is what it says. "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. The problem is, when do we know when is the time to act and when is the time not to? I think about a time for war and a time for peace. Clearly, after Pearl Harbor and after 9/11, it was a time for war. But I'm not so sure that holds true for the Vietnam War. Another example is a time to mourn and a time to dance. I think about the tragic life of Mary Todd Lincoln when she spent the rest of her life mourning for her husband, President Abraham Lincoln. So, comes the question, is your life meaningless? The short answer is, it can be. Life is a gift given by God, but once it has been given, we can do with it whatever we want. I'm thinking about an analogy of the Holy Land. There are two lakes, the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. The River Jordan runs through the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee takes water from the Jordan and then gives back water to the Jordan. The Sea of Galilee is alive, full of fish. Fishermen come and harvest the fish. It is a nourishing, life-giving lake. At the end of the River Jordan, it empties into the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea only takes water from the Jordan. The only way water ever escapes the Dead Sea is through evaporation. And the Dead Sea is just that. It's dead. The only life that exists in the Dead Sea are microorganisms and algae. And so it is with people. People who give and take are alive. They flourish. And yet people who only take are dead inside. There's also people who try to give, not taking the time to take care of themselves. And I feel that they become burned out in the end. Jesus is the perfect example of this. He would serve people, but then he would go to a quiet place and meditate and take care of himself. So this is my take on Ecclesiastes chapters 1 through 4. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. Also, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I am Jeff, the Progressive Disciple, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.